All right. Day 18 of Nickelodeon month. I need to be more consistent. Uh, the Drake and Josh series finale. Really big a shrimp. Now, I already told you the basics of the show. Before I get into this, there are some plot points I need to discuss from prior seasons. You see, in season 2, it was decided to kind of expand the show by giving Josh a job. So he started working at the Premiere Theater, where we're introduced to this gave a new setting besides the high school and the house that they could go to and have stuff happen. So we're introduced to two characters right away, eventually three. Helen Dubois, played by Yvette Nicole Brown, except for in the Pop Star episode, it's played by someone else. Who was Roxy on Hannah Montana? I don't know. It's the only episode that she didn't play Helen. And Crazy Steve, who seemed at first to be a one-off, he's played by Jerry Trainer, by the way, but would later be a recurring character, strangely enough, where he quits, but then keeps coming back. And he's a recurring character later. And yes, he would go on to play Spencer on iCarly with Miranda Cosgrove. And then there's also Gavin, who's not in this special, which is weird. But he's in the Merry Christmas Drake and Josh, which is also yeah, so that setting is very prevalent here. There is another plot point to bring in during season 3. They introduced the character of Mindy. Mindy, actually, I think it's in season 2 because it's still Chunky Josh when it happens. But during the episode Honor Council, Mindy shows up in this as a rival to Josh. And in the episode in question, she frames Drake for putting a teacher's car in the school. Now, this works because the teacher, Mrs. Hafer, hates Drake. So, of course, she doesn't believe anything that he says and tries to expel him, but can't, so they take him to an honor council, and then it comes out that it was actually Minnie that did it because Mrs. Hafer was the one teacher that dared to give her a B and it scored her perfect A record. And she went nuts and she got sent to a mental rehabilitation clinic and then came back during season 3 where there was a little twist. She declared her love for Josh and they began dating. However, during season 4, the episode Mindy Loves Josh, she confesses her love for him, saying, I love you. He's unable to reciprocate, so they end up breaking up. And so that kind of comes across here. And I think everything. The plot point of Alan Krim from the end of Drake and Josh Go Hollywood comes back here. Took them long enough. About a year. 2 years. It's 2007. It's about 2 years before they filled that in. But, yeah. So we start off the special with Drake preparing to perform at the Premiere Theater. Actually, each episode normally starts with a little pre-title thing, like where they talk to the audience. This one is sort of a recreation from the first episode, which should have been a hint when I watched this, that there was something going on here, because I didn't catch this until like the end of it when they showed a clip of the Amanda show, and I'm like, wait, hold on. This feels like a series finale type thing. Where they did that. I'm like, And they didn't advertise it as a series finale. They didn't say nothing about it. They said it was a brand new Drake and Josh special. Because I don't think they even knew this was the finale. Although they kind of wrote it like it was. But I don't think they actually thought it was. Because like I said, they had other episodes. And then even 2 episodes aired after this. For various reasons. That dance contest because they were doing a dance themed Teen Nick block, which also included an episode of iCarly about dance. I Dream of Dance. And then Helicopter, which aired the week after this, for no reason, really. Which airing those two episodes kind of took the wind out of sails of this being a finale, which was very confusing. And then they also had planned episodes like The Return of Milo, the villain from Drake and Josh Go Hollywood was supposed to come back. There's supposed to be an episode called Drake's Dad and Josh's Mom that was supposed to come in. And a few other ones I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah. They never got around to doing it. So, yeah. So we start with, there's some similar dialogue like, hey, I'm Drake Parker. I'm Josh Nichols. I should probably do my homework now. We should do a little homework here, which is how the first episode starts. And they dilute into things like Drake gets away with stuff, Josh doesn't. And then at the end, they say things usually work out unusual. Okay. Which is what they ended with, because, like, you know, Drake's okay, Josh's a little unusual type deal. So, then we're at the Premiere Theater. Drake is getting ready to perform his new song, which we'll get to, for Alan Krim and the people there, apparently. The two nerds, I forgot to mention them, Craig and Eric. They're two nerdy friends of Drake and Josh to show up every once in a while on the show. It may or may not be a gay couple. It's never expressed, but the way they act and argue with each other sounds like a couple. I even told my friend Tim we were watching this, and I'm like, you ever think, back in the day, you ever think that they could be, he goes, a gay couple? Oh, you got it too? Yeah. So yeah, we both caught on to that. So then maybe it's the way they act, you know. But it's never official, so, you know. They're filming it. And we find out that Helen is going to be getting married. If you see my review of Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh, I don't know if I mentioned it, but she's divorced by then, and that movie came out in 2009. So, 2 years. Or maybe 2008, I don't know. 2009, whatever. Yeah. And so she's getting married here to a guy named Buzz. Not Buzz Lightyear. Space Ranger. No. So Mindy shows up as Josh is trying to fix this corn dog rotisserie, but he can't get to work. Mindy gets to work, and that's the whole thing. Is he has trouble with stuff, Mindy will just get it. They start, like, the rivalry was over the science fair. That's also kind of why they broke up, because he thought, oh, she told me that she loved me to mess me up for the science fair. But no, she actually meant it. It just coincidentally happened around this time. But, and she's the one that broke up with him. There's a mutual, I don't remember. Yeah, so she fixes it, and he's like, and then, he eats Crazy Steve's enchilada, but Crazy Steve is on this thing where he can only attack. He can only freak out every once in a while. So, yeah. Drake sings his song, which is the song Makes Me Happy, which, except for it has different lyrics here. I know, because the CD came out before this. I was like, oh, Makes Me Happy, so I started singing with it. But there are different lyrics on here for some reason than there was. And you would say, well, if it's rights issues, it's Drake's song. He wrote it. It's his song. I don't understand why they had different lyrics for some reason. Not like they're dirty or anything. It's not dirty. It's not explicit. It's just different lyrics. So Alan Krim says, you knocked my underpants off, which is what Drake told Josh. You're going to knock his underpants off. That's not a saying. It will be. So he says it. You know. And then Crazy Steve freaks out because it's time to freak out. And we hit credits. So there it is. And so he might get a record deal. You know. So they go to Spin City Records in LA, I think it is, which Also, if they're going all the way to LA for Spin City Records, they apparently drove there. Why couldn't they drive there in the movie? It's beyond me, but and like I said before, they had planned a New York movie, so I think that's what it was leading to. But because they weren't able to do that, they decided to tie it up here, I guess. So they go there and they get told that they want to use. First, they're asked if they know about Dacus shoes, and Josh's like, "I'm rocking my Dacus Air Puffs right now. I can't. His legs are longer than mine. I got my leg up, but you can't. Ow, foot. Dacus Air Puffs right now." And let's take a minute to discuss. You ever notice in sitcoms or TV shows when people are in their own houses, they wear shoes? It's not realistic in my opinion. You wouldn't wear shoes in here. You wouldn't walk around with shoes on in your own house. But every show or sitcom that I see where people walk around their own house, they're wearing shoes. Why is that? I understand that they're actually on a stage and they're in wardrobe, but if you're trying to be realistic, you wouldn't wear shoes around your house. I can't do that. Constantly go around with my shoes on. Anyway, and it's rude to walk around someone else's house, I guess, or your own house, maybe not. But anyway, they say that the Dacus shoes have heard the song and they want to use that as the song for their ad in the Super Bowl. Coincidence, I'm reviewing this, and by this point, the Super Bowl will be over by the time this comes up. But as I'm reviewing this, it hasn't happened yet. It's next weekend. So, tie in, even though this already happened. But anyway, so of course they agree. And so, because of this wedding, Walter has volunteered for Helen's grandmother, played by Shelton Benjamin's mama. Yes, she played Shelton Benjamin's mama in WWE for a while. Last time I saw her, I remember I'm like, that's Shelton Benjamin's mama. She's playing Helen's grandmother, which, why isn't she just her mother? Why grandmother? Should be way older than that. But anyway, and they say she's not staying in the guest room. She's staying in Megan's room, and Megan is staying in the boys' room. This has never made any sense to me. So, Lula, which is her name, she's staying in Megan's room. And Megan is staying in Drake and Josh's room. So are Drake and Josh. Who's staying? Then that means there's no one staying in the guest room. Why can't she stay in the guest room? And they're making a reason. Like, oh, the heater's broken in there. Or there's a broken window, it's cold. Or it's not big enough for her. Nothing. They just say, oh, Drake and Josh have to share their room with Megan because funny. You have to give a reason for why they can't use the guest room. They mention they have a guest room. They say, oh, I can't believe she's staying in a guest room. She's not. She's staying in your room. What, my room? Yes, you're staying in the boys' room. What? Where are we staying? You can share. There's enough room in it. There is. By the way, they take over Drake's bed. Why Josh got to sleep on the floor with Drake? He has his own bed over there. So why does... I don't know. She takes over Drake's bed and everything else is girly-like, but like... I don't know. It's supposed to be funny. I just find it very inconvenient and not necessary. If they explain why if they came up with a reason as to why the guest room couldn't be used, it would work better. But they don't. They just say she's not staying in the guest room, she's staying in Megan's room. There's no reason. So then why don't Drake and Josh stay in the guest room? Why isn't Megan staying in the guest room? Why isn't Lula staying in the fucking guest room? It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. So, Drake is recording the song in the studio Well, Josh signs contracts and stuff. And this is part of the meaning for the really big shrimp. Why it's called really big shrimp. The assistant brings some giant shrimp, which is an oxymoron, but some giant shrimp in, and he gets mesmerized by it and signs all the contracts, not reading it, and he signed away creative control. So, when Alan Krim has them listen to the song, he's completely ruined it. He's technoed it out and made it terrible. Which, yeah, is terrible. Doesn't make any sense either because he says, this is better, this is the better song, and we're going to use this, right? Because he has the control in the world. Drake basically fires Josh as his manager. But here's the thing, and I said it since I watched it the first time I watched it. Take Your Shoes wanted the song that Drake sang. The exact song. So if they wanted that song, why would you ruin it by changing? Why would you change it at all? If that's the song that he wanted, why change it? You know. So Drake's mad at Josh, and I'm talking to him. They're still sharing the room. Which, and Drake plans on getting even with Alan Krim by putting fruit flies in his car so they'll lay eggs and have fruit flies forever, I guess. I don't know. But, so Josh goes back to the studio to try to beg the guy, not the music mixer guy, to use the original version of the song, but he says he can't. His girlfriend calls and he takes off. Then the person in charge of getting the song shows up. Josh swaps the songs around so the right song goes. And, yeah, so when the Super Bowl happens, we get one funny joke from Luther. What's this? This ain't good football. That's a cat commercial. I know. That's the only thing about her that I laugh watching this. I know. This is how she goes. I know. That guacamole. But, so Drake shows up, and Josh tries to insist for him to watch it. He doesn't want to. He's going to go up on the roof through his door that is over the driveway. Through his window that's over the driveway. There's roof access to that window. That's never been established before. Anyway, Josh forces them to watch the commercial and it has his actual song with the same different lyrics for some reason. And so yeah, they're happy. They sing along, they're happy, and then they get a phone call from Alan Krim saying that they infringed the contract and they could go to jail, pay a fine, stuff like that. So yeah. So Mindy, who is now, I forgot to mention, is now the assistant manager. Forgot to mention that. One of Josh's big goals in this series since getting the job at the premiere is to become the assistant manager with the gold vest. There was an episode in season 2 where Drake got hired because he wanted money. And he became assistant manager. But Josh has always wanted that position. Well, Mindy becomes assistant manager with the gold vest. And she's okay, but then she schedules Crazy Steve to work on a Monday, which he can't work on Monday because that's his bad day. And so he's going around going, cock-a-doo-doo-doo, the cow says moo, the cow says moo. And Josh is able to calm him down with She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain when it comes, singing that song. No one knows why, but it calms him and then gives him milk. And we hear him freak out. And yeah, no one told her that he couldn't work Mondays, which should have been the first thing they told her, but you know. So Drake and Josh are called to Alan Krim's office, or to the studio to talk to them, or what happened. And Alan Krim gets fired because they actually did the right thing, and he almost ruined the song, and so he's fired. They get the record contract, and yeah, so Drake's quest to be a famous musician is now officially going to happen. You know, he said he might have a number one hit, and because it blew up, the song blew up. Everyone wants to download it, and so yeah, Alan Kim is fired. He's like, "Well, our wives golf together. Your wife cheats. Get out." I like that, and yeah. So we go to Helen's wedding next, where they get married. They're going to get married, but the nerds plug in the 5K, which causes a fire, and they end up getting married in the parking lot of the premiere, which I think is it's still like a movie theater, I think. I mentioned in my review for the Christmas one that it ends up being a mall, which was never implied before. Here, it implies that they just went right out the door, so it's just outside the movie theater. So they get married in the parking lot with everyone there, and somehow able to film it. There's not much lighting in the parking lot. I don't know. Josh becomes the assistant manager, thus ending his journey, and he and Mindy get back together, as they've been kind of talking about it. So they get back together, and yeah. And so, yeah, and Drake sings the song one more time, and then we go back to the house, and Megan is leaving the room. There's also a subplot where one of her friends likes Josh. I don't know. There's a little crush on him. And they see that their jumbo shrimp left behind were sent to them by Nick Mateo, but those buzzard girls ate them all, except for one. And this is where we get to the genesis of this, why it's called Really Big Shrimp, in a way. Because this whole concept of Drake and Josh was based on a sketch from the Amanda Show over the two fighting for a shrimp. They saw this and went, this could be something. We could do a show with this. This could work. These two could work on a show. And thus we have the show. So they start fighting over this shrimp, and then it cuts to the clip from the original skit of them fighting over that shrimp. So, yeah. And that's what I remember when I first watched this. I'm like, why does this seem like a series finale? Doing something like that, I'm like, I don't know. Especially since it's kind of out of the canon as it goes back to a different show. But, yeah. This was good. And you remember thinking, Scotty, this doesn't say Retro Rewind. You're damn right it doesn't. This came out in 2007. Ain't no way I'm saying this was retro. This is a year after I graduated. I'm not ready to say that's retro yet. Hell no. Okay? No. It's just a review. That's it. But it's still a TV episode review, so no rating. Same thing with the next one. We were going from Drake and Josh to the world of iCarly. We were going to go to Japan. And iCarly's first TV special, I Go to Japan. Till then, what are your thoughts on Drake and Josh to Really Big Shrimp? Leave them in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.